This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
This podcast is part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club, a program designed to help all podcasts reach their full potential. For information about joining the Robots Radio Rocket Club, check out robotsradio.net.
Welcome to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon versus Legends. We're going to take a deep dive into the lore of the Star Wars universe.
Hello and welcome to the Holocron Histories podcast, where we talk about Star Wars canon versus legend lore. I'm one of your hosts, Austin, also known as Teacup.
And I'm your other host, Ben of Temeria.
And we are here to talk about planets.
Yes. And
surveying planets, surveying the flora, the fauna, the random elements.
I think you're mixing up with Mass Effect right there, or Starfield.
yeah, Starfield on the brain. This game, I'm telling you, when full mod support comes out, I know they've already done this. It's
going to be an open world Star Wars game at that point. I mean, Bethesda knew it was going to happen, and it's going to happen. So, but yes,
I made a Star Destroyer.
Did you?
I did make a Star Destroyer.
I've seen a lot of people using the ship editor making Star Destroyers. I've seen the Ebon Hawk. I've seen the Millennium Falcon. I've seen the Razor Crest. I've seen a Y-Wings. I've seen so many Star Wars.
I saw a buddy of mine do the Ghost.
Interesting. I haven't seen that one yet.
I've been trying to do an X-Wing, but there's no curved.
Yeah, that's a true point. That's a good point.
But I guess I could do a closed X-Wing.
And this is something they need to add to the game through DLC or whatnot with Starfield. And this is a little side tangent before we start our actual show. But they need to add gun turrets, so your companions or your passengers or your crew can actually shoot the gun turrets from your ship.
They have automated turrets.
Yeah, but it's not the same. It's not a bubble dome with an actual gun.
I guess that's true.
It'd be cool to see, have commentary from your crew or from your companions talking about, oh, I shot this down, I shot that pirate down, or something like that. I want that. I just want that.
Different than just, you killed their grav drive.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You know how often I kill an enemy's grav drive? It's like I hit them once and bye grav drive.
Did you not protect your grav drive?
I put my grav drive in the middle of my ship, surrounded by all my hull.
Exactly, that's what I do too. So you can't hit it. But or side tangent, we are going into a very specific planet that we all know from the series, and a planet that gets constantly attacked and taken over. Lo and behold, it is Coruscant.
Yeah, okay, I have beef. So, again, apparently all my beef is with KOTOR, even though I claim that it's one of my favorite games in the whole world. But I have a lot of beef with things said in KOTOR, apparently. We're learning this about Austin through this podcast. They talk about hey, we need to really amp up our forces so we're ready to launch an attack on the core worlds, which includes Coruscant. And they make this whole big deal, like you have to have a lot of military power to go into the core worlds. But like the Separatists, the CIS attack it like every other day.
Yeah. Literally every, like, watch the Clone Wars. How many times have you seen Coruscant being attacked, or senators being kidnapped for ransom, or like all this stuff? It's like, this is like the capital planet of the core worlds of the galaxy. How does it not have enough security? like, what?
Like, and I get like you're at war, but you've got like, if anyone has ever played Risk, or if you want to go back to Star Wars Star Wars Galaxy at War.
Oh yeah.
You've got to have enough defenses on your home planet. Otherwise, it's over.
Yep. But today's episode, we are going specifically over the Legends material of Coruscant, or bits and pieces, because there is a lot in Legends specifically, because a lot happens to this planet, sadly, in Legends. So, the summary here is Coruscant, originally called Nortron, also known as the Queen of the Core Worlds, the Jewel of the Core Worlds, or Imperial Center during the New Order, and as Yuuzhan Tar under the Yuuzhan Vong. As a planet located in the galactic core, it was an ancient homeworld of the Tang and the Zell species, and is generally also believed the original birthplace of humans. During most of the galactic history, Coruscant was the most political important world in the galaxy at various times. It was the capital of the Galactic Republic, the Galactic Empire, the New Republic, the Yuuzhan Vong Empire, the Galactic Alliance, Darth Krayt's Galactic Empire, and the Galactic Federation Triumvirate. In controlling Coruscant, these governments controlled most of the galaxy in the process. So, yeah, as you see and heard, Coruscant's typically the capital of majority of all the eras in the galaxy. Mm-hmm. And then over the centuries, Coruscant had developed into an
Humanopolis.
There we go.
Humanopolis.
With a total of 5,127 levels of a city built from the crust by the time of the Clone Wars. The actual planet-wide metropolis of Coruscant was called Galactic City. Under the Galactic Republic, the names of Republic City or the City of Spires were also used to reference the city. It was also called the Imperial City under the Galactic Empire and the New Republic City under the New Republic. However, in practice, Galactic City and its other names were sometimes applied to the Senate District, the central government center, and de facto capital of Coruscant. Yeah, this planet levels, like 5,127 levels, is ridiculous. And only if we got that Star Wars 1313 game. Only. If only.
Yeah. I thought that was supposed to be like the new the Battlefront 3.
No, 1313 was like a bounty hunter game.
Oh, you think 1313 is what Outlaws is? You think it?
No, I don't think so, because 1313 was I think it was announced in 2012, 2013. They had one cinematic trailer for it, and then like the next year it was canceled completely. I forget who the developer was too. But anyway, we now have the history. So the pre-Republic. So around 200,000 BBY, the planet Nortron was home of two species, the grayskin Tang and the Zell, the ancestors of the modern humans. The 13 nations of the Zell eventually came into conflict with the Tang, and the battalions of Zell fought the Tang in fierce war. However, during a battle at the city of Great Zell, a volcano erupted, and the Tang overran the terrified Zell in the battle that followed. taking the city victory and the cloud of volcanic ash as a sign of divine favor. The Tang adopted the name Da Verda, the Warriors of Shadow. However, they were ultimately driven off Nortron to the planet of Rune by the Zell. The leaders of the 13 nations believed the archaeologists to have been buried near the planet's south pole, and the structure of became known as the Ice Crypts. The mother goddess Onra was believed to be the mistress of the planet Nortron. And then sometime around 100,000 BBY, the Kalumi species visited Nortron, known at the time as Coruscant. Though they diminished the world as primitive and disappointment, Coruscant's human natives began to urbanize their homeworld after the departure of the Tang, and the archaeologists later believed that the Petrax Historic Quarter was the site of the planet's first skyscrapers. And then the Gree species also had contact with early humans building Coruscant's original infrastructure, and by the approximate date of 900,000 or 90,000 BBY, the Echimetropolis, later known as the Galactic City, had began to be built upwards as the human population scored. They forced the development of the first asteroid scrubbers, delivery pipelines, recycling plants, the hydroponic farms. Instead of burying unrecycled garbage, Coruscant's inhabitants built cannons that launched canisters of waste into orbit, where the garbage scored could tow them out of the star system. So they specifically built pipelines and hydroponic farms and atmospheric scrubbers instead of dealing with their waste. So they made cannons to shoot their garbage into space. That's one way to do it.
You know when you go and visit Earth and Starfield, and you walk out there and there's all that like satellite debris and other debris there. That's what I imagine.
Oh yes,
Atmosphere of Coruscant looks like.
And then around 30,000 BBY, the Rakata species discovered Coruscant and incorporated it into their infinite empire. Some humans were taken as slaves and put into the work across the empire, though the remaining humans learned from their rulers' technology and developed sleeper ships. Over the next several centuries, the Coruscanti dispatched a number of sleeper ships, and by 27,500 BBY, their ships had established colonies on Metrolos, Ascalon, Alsacan, Axlam, Tapasi, Alderaan, Kuat, Rendili, Corfa, Corellia, and other worlds of the Ringelange Shell region. That's a lot of words. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm. Basically, the core worlds.
Yeah. Well, it became the core worlds. And around 27,000 BBY, they launched ships even further, seeding the planets of Barseg and Genelis 7 in the distant Tyon cluster. And then around 25,200 BBY, the Infinite Empire collapsed due to the infighting and the species-wide plague that afflicted the Rakata, and the humans of Coruscant reclaimed rulership of the world. Around the time they launched the sleeper ships Lucani Dawn, and then by 25,053 BBY, Coruscant had established contact with the Alderaan, Duro, Corellia, and many other planets in the core worlds. And the planet was site of the signing the Galactic Constitution, which founded the Galactic Republic and named Coruscant the capital of the new government. So, yeah, a lot happens for Coruscant to be capital, and a lot of bad things.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, like, that Coruscant gets really put on the map because of the Rakata and the Infinite Empire.
Right.
Like, otherwise they would just develop and be this city world. but they really like get in contact with these other worlds to like form a government because of the Infinite Empire and then making sleeper ships.
Yep. Thanks to the Rakata, we have majority of things in the known galaxy of Star Wars.
At least for Legends.
Yeah, for Legends, not for canon. We don't know anything about canon yet, but for Legends. So now we have to where it's the Republic's early years. So almost 2 centuries after the Locana Dawn's launch, the people of Coruscant were dismayed to witness the vessel's destruction when the sleeper ship, which had been carefully watched by Coruscant scientists for the last 2 centuries, was ripped apart by a meteor shower. The development of the hyperspace cannons linked Coruscant to Alderaan, Duro, Corellia, and other worlds. But it was not until Corellian scientists succeeded in reverse engineering the Rakatan hyperdrive around 25,000 BBY that starships could travel between the worlds of the Republic in a matter of days. Hence another thing about the Rakatan leaving their crap behind and letting everybody, let's reverse engineer everything they had to get modern technology.
I think it's so funny to me because BioWare is the one who introduces the Rakata through KOTOR. And then they create more lore behind them as they're developing SWTOR. And then they release Mass Effect.
Yep.
Which has a race called the Protheans, who were this super secret empire that left behind a bunch of technology that led to the hyper advancement of people reverse engineering their technology to create the ability to use the Mass Effect to make faster than light jumps.
Yep.
I hope everyone sees where I'm going with this.
It's a copy and paste just with the name change.
And then Starfield comes around and they have graph drives, which is basically just like a marriage between Mass Effect jumps and
hyperspace jumps. Yep. It literally and the effect when you go into a grav jump in Starfield is like literally a combination of the mass relay jumps and going into hyperspace. It's like a combination of the two where it's like a weird effect where you see you're going through space-time. It's weird, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Mass Effect references in Starfield.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of Star Wars references.
I mean, Starfield being the space game from Bethesda, I can guarantee they literally looked at the Star Wars, Star Trek, Mass Effect, and Firefly, and a bunch of like other really big space games or shows, and like there's just so many references. But Coruscant soon became the anchor for the newly charted Prelinium trade route, a major hyperspace or hyperlane that linked the Republic with the distant Tyon cluster, where the human colonists had developed their own proud and warlike society. Coruscant also sat on the intersection of the Prelinium and the Spin, a hyperlane that wrapped around the deep core from Metalos to Corellia. And around 25,000 BBY, the Promillion trade route brought the Republic into contact with the Jedi Order on the distant planet Ossus, and after Jedi Master Huan Tiar toured the Republic, the Jedi became the government's protectors and established a presence on Coruscant. However, when the first Great Schism split the Jedi Order around 24,500 BBY, Coruscant was caught in the conflict between the Jedi Order and the Dark Jedi of the Legion of Leto, as a battle occurred in the Coruscant during the fighting. Go figure. And then around 24,000 BBY, the Tynese War broke out, and the Honorable Union of Desfaro and Tyon, as the Tynese began a march on the conquest along the Promillion trade route. between 24,000 and 23,100 BBY, the Taiwanese pushed deep into Corals, and even Coruscant itself was attacked. The Taiwanese bombarded Coruscant city surface with the pressure bombs. As the centuries passed, the Republic City, a district in the Coruscant's eastern hemisphere near the Marmara Mountains, expanded outward, absorbing the planet's other districts and developing into the eco-metropolis of the Galactic City. See? There's another thing of the Coruscant being attacked. That's like 3 or 4 instances already. Yeah, too much.
Just move.
Right. And then in 15,500 BBY, Republic scouts encountered this enormous fire-breathing reptilian species known as the, and I will butcher this, the Duergar Wien.
Close enough.
On a planet in the Outer Rim territories. Terrified, the scouts opened fire on the creature and fled the planet, returning to Coruscant. But the enraged creature followed their attackers back to the capital and attacked it in what was later known as the Duergar Wien contention. So wait, they found this fire-breathing lizard on another planet, and then it followed back to Coruscant? So it could... What, did it, like, hop aboard the ship? Or did it, like, fly through space? Like, what?
The Force.
The Force. Yeah, there we go. The Force. The Force deemed Coruscant to be attacked for a 5th time. And the Supreme Chancellor at the time...
Also, not the only time that a giant beast-like creature has been brought back to Coruscant and wreaked havoc on it.
That's a fair point. That's a good point. And then the Supreme Chancellor at the time, Florian, refused to mobilize the Republic Navy and instead attempted to communicate with the massive star dragons attacking the planet. And to the surprise of the terrified Coruscanti, Florian was successful. The Duergar were actually intelligent and naturally peaceful, and the Duergar philosopher Boris Mateo negotiated a treaty to end the conflict. The two later worked together to establish the University of Coruscant, the planet's first university, and the two were immortalized in a pair of statues fashioned from Chaushindi. I have no idea what that is. It's another... What is this? It's a type of material for statues. So they're star dragons. So these fire-breathing lizards are star dragons.
Mm-hmm. Star whales.
Star whales, star dragons. Yeah. So now we get to the PS Day and onward. So around 12,000 BBY, the Galactic Museum was established on Coruscant, and it would serve as the Galactic's premier repository of historical artifacts as well over 10,000 years. By the time a religious cult known as the Piestia was worshipped a deity named the Goddess and established on Coruscant for several centuries, and the cult's followers are known as the Strict Moral Code, and their emphasis on physical, spiritual purity and humanicentrism. And
Humanitarian?
Humanitarianism, maybe?
No idea.
It's a philosophy of having a perspective of human majority and like
humanocentrism.
That, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then around 12,000 BBY, the human later known as Cortiplex I, or the First, rose to prominence within the Coruscant Merchants Guild, became the leadership figure in the Piestia faith on Coruscant. Piestia arranged for the impeachment of Bothan's Supreme Chancellor Percivalia in 11,987 BBY, and his assassination shortly afterward, the Contemplex I was elected to succeed Persilia as a result. And then under Contemplex, the Piastia became the unofficial religion of the Republic and taught that communities could be restored to purity by purging irredeemable elements, and to the Piastia, alien species were the epitome of a spiritual corruption. In 11,965 BBY, Contemplex I launched the first Piastia Crusade, one of 34 military campaigns against alien species that would be conducted by Contemplex and his successors, who formed the Contemplex dynasty and took on the title of Contemplex in honor of the first Contemplex. That's messed up.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally like holy crusades in space, specifically on one planet. After, like, what?
Mm.
And then in 11,933 BY, the Jedi Order departed Coruscant and returned to Ossus in the Rescue as they could not decide the action take against the corrupt Republic. The PSDF era finally ended in 10,966 BBY when the Jedi Order Ascalon and a member of the alien species defeated the Piastia in the Battle of Yukon in the 7th Alaskan conflict. Yeah, that was a lot. And then we get to the events of SWTOR. So, KOTOR, SWTOR, and all that. You get to KOTOR, KOTOR 2, which Coruscant you don't visit in either of those games. In KOTOR 1 or 2.
That's correct.
And then SWTOR you do visit, which a lot happens to KOTOR, to Coruscant and SWTOR, because it gets bombarded by the Sith Empire during the Great Galactic War. Great Galactic War? Great Hyperspace War? Great Galactic War.
I think those are two different things.
They are two different things, and I can't remember which one it was. But
the Great Hyperspace War is Exar Kun.
Okay, so it's the Great Galactic War. But yeah, Malgus literally orders, or the Sith Empire orders, a bombardment of the Jedi Temple, and it's in ruins, and also, you know, parts of the city district is also destroyed. A lot of it. So, people die. And by the events, when you go to your homeworld, if you're a Republic character in SWTOR, you get to see all this. And I highly recommend playing the Jedi Knight or Jedi Counselor storylines, because you do get to see, like, the ruins of the Jedi Temple and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I think it's a good time to take our mid-break.
All right, let's do it.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Bistro Cat Food. Cats, this ad is for you. Has your human ever called you picky, persnickety, choosy? If so, Perfect Bistro Cat Food is for you. With ingredients like wild-caught tuna and pasture-raised lamb, tantalizing textures, and delectable flavors that meet even the most discerning cat standards. You're not picky, you're just perfectionists. Perfect Bistro, mealtime perfection for every cat. Have your human visit perfectbistro.com.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A gift from Italy to your home. San Pellegrino Ciao is a flavored sparkling water made with real fruit juice, finished with a pinch of Sicilian salt for a perfectly balanced taste. So which flavor will you choose? Peach, lime, blood orange, cherry, or maybe the all-new limoncello? Crafted in Italy with 0 grams of added sugar. San Pellegrino Ciao. Buy it now.
So welcome to the middle of the show where we talk about things going on with the podcast. And so it's here where we thank patrons. Thank you to all of our patrons who shouted us out or who support us. We had a great patron chat last week. It's a lot of fun talking about the Ahsoka episodes, which is
The
the
finals
last
tonight. The final
tonight.
is
The finale
tonight.
is tonight.
The finale. It's only 8 episodes. Tonight's the last episode.
That's stressful, but we had a lot of fun talking about that. If you want to join us on there, you can go to patreon.com/holocron histories and sign up at our Jedi Master/Sith Lord tier. You can also support us by leaving reviews and comments on Spotify. If you leave us 5 stars and some kind words, we'll read them out on a future episode of the show. Do we have a comment or review to read today?
Not today.
Not today. All right. So if you leave that again, we'll read it out on a future episode of the show. You can come hang out with us on Discord. Tops Podcasting and more. Ben and Friends Podcasting. I never remember, because I remember being like, Ben of Podcasting is what I want you to call it. Right. So you can find us there on those 2 servers, the Robots Radio server, under the same names. Shout us out if you want to come talk Star Wars and hang out with us. Check out our other shows. So as we kind of we've alluded to several times, I host the Dragon Age Lorecast and the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. And then Ben is hosting 10 million shows.
Not 10 million.
You can find him all over the internet.
Just for this show, Final Fantasy Lorecast, the Wizarding World Lorecast, and then the newly added Witcher Lorecast. So, yeah, super exciting stuff.
Yeah, so you can check them out. All those shows are part of the Robots Radio Network /Rocket Club. So if you hop over to the Robots Radio Discord, you can find all those shows and wherever they are. If you go up to robotsradio.com, you can find links to get to all of our shows that are listed there. It's real easy to find them all in one place.
Yes.
Other than that, I don't think I have anything to add.
Well, I don't have anything else to add either, so let's get back into it.
Star Wars is awesome.
Yes, that's true. Star Wars is awesome. Star Wars is life. Okay, now that we're back, we now have the Great Peace of the Republic, which honestly is very surprising, because there's no peace in this. There's no peace in the Republic. Let's be honest. There's always conflict.
It's Star Wars, not Star Peace.
Exactly. So, one attack, wait, hang on. We start saying this is the peaceful time of the Republic, and they're already getting attacked. So, one attack on Coruscant took place over 1,000 years before the Clone Wars. In 335 BBY, the Coruscanti government introduced the granite slugs, a species of land mollusks, to the planet's undercity in aid to efforts to clean up the refuse and accumulated over centuries. Over time, the slug population exploded, and while the appearance of the paved area of the Undercity was greatly improved, the slugs also served as a food source for predators that had previously been contained. So they brought one thing in to help the planet, but then also caused more problems. So
Sounds about right.
And then 110 BBY, many blood carvers relocated their homeworld of Batorin to Coruscant, where they became famous for their wood carvings. In later decades, Prince Zeron, a Falian of royal blood, used his fortune as the head of the Zoran transport systems to raise Coruscant's historic Farfalla skyscraper and construct a castle in its place from the sub-foundations up. And then in 33 BBY, terrorist organization the Flail accused the Galactic Senate of corruption despite public service of Coruscant, including commerce, communications, traffic, and weather, destroying property and lives while doing so. They were stopped by agents of Finis Valorum. Which, I mean, this terrorist organization wasn't wrong. So, yeah. And then in 32 BBY, the violent criminal gang Black Heth started terrorizing the Coruscant underworld. The Jaina group was supplying weapons, but the Jedi Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi intervened and stopped the criminal activity. Later that year, Queen Amidala of Naboo escaped a Trade Federation blockade of her own homeworld, and on Coruscant, her attempts to persuade the Senate to aid Naboo were thwarted by bureaucracy and political maneuvering. In frustration, she called for a vote of no confidence in the embattled Supreme Chancellor Valorum, paving the way for Naboo Senator Palpatine to take his place. So obviously we're getting to the events of the prequel series. And then in 30 BBY, Jedi Masters Pierce and Jamekel were killed by bounty hunter Azura Singh, who was wanted for the murder of several other Jedi. While searching for her on Coruscant, Zian Amasuru, Jamoka's Padawan, reported the incident to the Jedi High Council at the Jedi Temple, where a mission to capture Singh was organized. And if I remember, I'm trying to think, she was... Azura Singh... she's the white paled bounty hunter. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, the one with the radio thing in her head.
Yeah, and she has the long, red ponytail, while the rest of her head is shaved. And then in 27...
First appeared in The Phantom Menace.
True, that is true. And then in 27 BBY, Coruscant was almost destroyed by Ashar Korda using the Infant of Shah, Jango Fett, Zam Wessel, and Yara Poof saved Coruscant, although Poof sacrificed himself to do so. News of the averted disaster never widely divulged. However, in the same year, Jedi Master Joris Kuboth and his Padawan Laura Zingler interrupted a meeting between Supreme Chancellor Palpatine and his aide Kenmar Dorian on the Coruscant to demand more funding for the Kuboth's proposed outbound flight project. The sides came to an agreement that the Kuboth could resolve a mining strike on the planet Bolok, and it would free up enough funds to finish the project, after which Palpatine ordered Dorian to keep watch over Kuboth. Dorian returned to his apartment to pack and contacted his true master, Darth Sidious. After Kuboth received permission from the Jedi Council to travel Bolok, Master Mace Windu ordered Obi-Wan Kenobi and his Padawan Anakin Skywalker to follow Kuboth to his destruction. Or destination. Sorry, destination. Not destruction, destination. And then we get to the actual events of the prequels, which, a lot happens on Coruscant. Mainly political stuff. Until we get to Revenge of the Sith, where not so political things happen. And people die. The kids.
Children die.
Children die. Anakin, Master Skywalker, what shall we do?
Don't call me Master.
Right. And then now we get to the Galactic Empire.
I have a tangent. Have you seen the meme that little kid is Balin?
No.
Oh my god, it said Balin, I didn't even turn. It just showed him side by side with the little kid.
Oh my god. It says
Master Skywalker, what are we gonna do?
That's so terrible. I don't think he was that young.
Hilarious.
It is hilarious, but I don't think Balin was that young during the Clone Wars, obviously. So now we get to Palpatine's rule. So as the Republic, Coruscant continued to function as a galactic capital, but they're renamed to Imperial Center, while the Galactic City was redubbed the Imperial City. While the planet's name was officially changed during the Palpatine's rule, most working class citizens of the Galactic Empire continued to call the planet city by its old name. Emperor Palpatine also began to shape Coruscant with his own designs. This included installation of almost 1 million surveillance systems throughout the Ecometropolis. Massive shield generators were placed all over Coruscant, where the shield segments overlapped powerful storms would brew, although Coruscant had always been for its high concentration of thunderstorms due to rising vapors from the billions of buildings and homes, and the increased frequency lent the planet a foreboding, almost gothic look. Under Imperial rule, illegal trade flourished in Coruscant, where the nobility coveted certain prohibitive items, including slaves and banned artwork as statue symbols. Palpatine tolerated such activity as it kept minor nobles occupied with their own intrigues and provided him with a means of blackmailing some nobles into his service. And then, following the Palpatine's departure to Endor system to oversee the second Death Star, at least 2 massive space stations commonly known as worldcrafts were being constructed. The Emperor personally gifted them to his most loyal servants, with Enox Divian and Grand Moff Ardus Kane, where they were gifted a craft each. However, Divian would steal both of them for his new empire following the failure at Endor. Yeah, because, spoiler alert, Palpatine gets axed. Well, supposed axed, I should say. Legends and canon, on that note. And then following the death of Palpatine, quote-unquote death, at the Battle of Endor in 4 ABY, an uprising took place in Coruscant. Billions of Coruscanti revealed in their newfound freedom, and armed uprisings sprang out of the non-human dominated sectors. Imperial patrols were attacked in the streets, statues of Palpatine were toppled, and other Imperial symbols were desecrated. Good for them, because the Empire... Well, I mean, in practice, the only problem with the Empire was Palpatine. And, there was other things, too, but it still worked.
Define work.
The system kept going, even though there was a lot of problems.
Yes, the system kept going on the backs of the enslaved labor of the spice mines of Kessel, and the enslaved labor of the Imperial shipyards, and the enslaved labor of the entire planet of Kashyyyk, and organized crime became more rampant.
Don't be an empire. Enough said. And then now we get to the New Republic.
Are the bad guys?
Yes.
They're modeled after the Nazis.
That's true. I completely forgot about that. That is true. And now we get to the New Republic. So, controlling Coruscant was the key to the Galactic Civil War. For the New Republic, Imperial City was renamed once more to Galactic City, and the former official name, Imperial Center, was abandoned. After Ishtar's loss of Coruscant and her retreat to Typhurna, fragmentation within the Empire deepened as the Imperials lost faith in their leaders, and the survivors of Imperial Inner Circle were found once again providing a tremendous central authority for the Empire. In 8 ABY, Coruscant was visited by Haps Constatorium, which surrounded the planet with a fleet of Hapton battle dragons, marking the first time in a millennia that the Insular Society made significant contact with the rest of the galaxy since the Cassorium sealed its borders around 3100 BBY.
So, the Hapes Consortium, which is Hapen space. If you're familiar with Legends books, you know that they're a big deal. But, interesting enough, their queen eventually has relations. It's probably not queen at the time, but who becomes queen has relations with Jason Solo. And births a granddaughter for Han and Leia.
Interesting. Look at Jason being just like his dad.
Yes, and then like his grandfather.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's also true. And then 9 ABY, during the Thrawn crisis, Grand Admiral Thrawn's fleet besieged the galactic capital On 44-8-11, since his forces were outnumbered by the New Republic's defenses of Coruscant, he used cloaking technology to create an effective siege weapon. Oh, there. And then in 10 ABY, the Imperial Inner Circle, encouraged by that Thrawn had accomplished so quickly with so little, agreed to organize an attack on Coruscant and other key New Republic worlds in the core. After Palpatine's final death, because he didn't die at Endor, he stayed alive because Force magic and cloning.
So same reason he stayed alive in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, they used the copy and paste of that. Because Dave Filoni likes to take things from Legends and put them back into the canon. Thank you.
But he didn't write the...
that's a good point. He didn't do the sequels, as he should have. Anyway, after Palpatine's final death in 11 ABY at the Battle of Alderaan, the New Republic retook the planet and used EVS construction droids to clear the rubble and create new gleaming skyscrapers. While Coruscant had suffered severe damage during the Imperial Civil War, the solar mirrors remained in orbit and no irreversible damage had been done to the planet itself. And then in 17 ABY, following the Black Fleet crisis, while Leia Organa Solo was preparing for a speech, the Senate building was attacked and severely damaged by Barkus and Adolf, forcing a nearly completed renovation. The words. And then in 19 ABY, following the signing of the Palian Garveris Treaty by Imperial Grand Admiral Galad Palian and New Republic City of State Polk Garvison on the Chimera, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker and Mara Jade planned to wed on Coruscant. However, 1 year later, during the wedding ceremony, a group of Imperial partisans attempted to sabotage it, including infiltrating the event site and hiring a swoop gang to disrupt the wedding. What?
Just Empire. The Empire. Led by Palpatine, Thrawn, Natasi Dala, whoever you want to talk about. Destroyer of planets. Enslaver of the galaxy. You know how we can really get back at this punk who's caused us so much trouble? Let's disrupt his wedding.
Yeah, not a smart move.
What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, they hired a swoop gang of all people. Like a swoop gang. They're not even professionals.
A swoop gang. And they were just trying to cause a disturbance. They would have known that a mere swoop gang wouldn't have disrupted this wedding with just Luke and Mara present, not to mention probably Leia is also present in there, and Kyle Katarn, and every other Jedi that Luke's been training up at this point.
Yeah. Probably not a great move, because you have at least a dozen Force users who have lightsabers.
Against us,
against really
against the Black Vulkars. Come on.
Yeah. Poor decision on their part. And then in 22 ABY, the Second Imperium infiltrated the Coruscant system by using the cloaked Shadow Academy to remain in orbit above the planet, invisible to the eyes of the New Republic military presence and Coruscant Planetary Defense Force, a Second Imperium force consisting of former TIE pilot Quarry's assault shuttle and several modified TIE fighters also boarded the bulk cruiser Adamant and fled into hyperspace with a variable cargo of Starship hyperdrives. And that's really, and there's more on top of that, but this episode would have been like a 2-hour episode if we did all that, because then it goes into the Yuuzhan Vong War and a bunch of other stuff.
We'll cover the Yuuzhan Vong War in its own episode.
Oh yeah, because that war specifically.
Yeah, so Coruscant at least has 5 more attacks planned in its future.
Yeah, it's bad. why they don't move this capital, or why they just don't, have a planetary, like, artillery system in orbit or something is beyond me, because they should have just learned from the Clone Wars, for one. Then again, obviously Palpatine took the planet by surprise. But even after that, when the New Republic gets established, they should have learned from all the mistakes from the Clone Wars and the Galactic Civil War. And it's like, hey, maybe we should protect this planet.
I think they should just hire swoop gangs.
Just hire swoop gangs. Just hire swoop gangs and let them be bouncers for everything. Yeah,
exactly. It seemed like a solid strategy.
Yeah, because they can disrupt a wedding of Force users, because that's what they're made for.
A swoop gang.
It's just like,
imagine like this is not quite the equivalent. Imagine sending the Hell's Angels to go and disrupt a wedding of Navy SEALs.
Yeah. It's still not a good thing to do. Oh, God, it's bad. Don't do that. Don't disrupt a wedding of powerful people who can use space magic. Don't disrupt a wedding, for one. Don't do that. And also don't disrupt a wedding with people who have magic.
Yes.
And space magic on top of that. But that's all I have for this episode. Is there anything else we need to add?
Nope, I think we can wrap it up.
Cool.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
And may the Force be with you.
Thank you for listening to Holocron Histories, Star Wars Canon versus Legends. You can find us on the Robots Radio Discord at robotsradio.net. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWHoloHistories and contact us at holocronhistories@gmail.com.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.